Howdy, folks. Recording my second main slate best ball draft. I've done 19 Schnauzers, so this will be my final Schnauzer. And yeah, my first video was kind of a disaster of the year. Had my microphone way too far away and completely forgot that, this is how you get to the board. So hopefully, video two go a little bit more smooth. We have pick 5 here. So probably looking at CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson, or Gibbs. Though there have been some draft rooms that go wide receiver early heavy. I'll probably be doing that myself some. I'm willing to give up a little bit of Bijan to get a little bit more Jefferson and Lamb. But I'm going to have some Bijan. I'm not fully fading him or anything. But top 6 picks are pretty much locked in as the board. Same as the board for me. 3 wide receivers and 3 running backs. Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, Barkley, Bijan, Gibbs. I start to differ after that. So I have Malik Neighbors 7, Ginty 8, and Bowers 9. And I think I'm willing to have a decent amount more of those players. I think I'm just going to take Jefferson here because I think I have 3 or 4 Lamb in this contest. And this is only my second Jefferson share. So I actually prefer Lamb to Jefferson a little bit, but not to the point where I want to have all Lambs and no Jeffersons. So I think I might have 4 shares of Lamb in this, and this is my second Jefferson share. So happy to take Jefferson because of that here. It does make building a bit easier, I think, when you get these wide receivers up here compared to the running backs. But these running backs to me are so strong that I'm not into the full fading them. A lot of guys from our Discord are considering things pulling up Nico and Brian Thomas Jr. and guys like that over these running backs just to for roster construction purposes to get more of those wide receivers. I'm actually just not into the wide receivers after Malik Neighbors as much myself. I'm okay having less than market on Puka Amon-Ra, Brian Thomas Jr., and Nico. I do think they're all fine, good picks, but to me, and they all, of course, have the league-winning one-week upside that you're looking for in these tournaments. But I don't want to forego these guys that I think are that also have that I think are significantly better as far as getting you there. As far as their season-long projections, I really prefer Ginty, Bowers, and Malik Neighbors to this group of 4 wide receivers. Nice pull up on Trey McBride here. Gonna take a wide receiver here pretty easily. Don't really care which one. Fine, I'll take AJ Brown. That is fine with me. I think Jalen Hurts is extremely mispriced. You're often able to get him in around 5. I might just take him in around 4, depending on what the other options are. I do have a couple AJ Brown teams that don't have Hurts, which is obviously fine. But I'm generally looking to pair them a lot because I think when AJ Brown goes nuts, those games are probably going to be pretty insane for Jalen Hurts. You couple that with Hurts going in round 4 or 5. I don't know. I like it too much to go away from it too often. I will, probably only have 50% of my AJ Brown teams have Hurts, but that's how much I like both Hurts as a pick and how much I think a big AJ Brown game translates to a big game for Hurts. Would have been interested in Bucky if he got a big fall here. I'm just going to scoop up either Garrett Wilson or Terry McLaurin with this pick. Might go away from Hurts in the case that Jaden Daniels falls to us if we end up with McLaurin. Also fine with Garrett Wilson. I have a metric ton of Garrett Wilson, and I will continue to do so. after McConkey is off the board, well, I have these two guys ahead of McConkey, but I like Garrett Wilson more than like all four of these guys. Like he's my guy I have ranked after McConkey, who actually, you know, an ADP is after these two. So I pretty much feel like I'm getting a second round wide receiver when I take Garrett Wilson. So I'm very happy there. Would have been nice to get McLaurin here and try to go for the Daniels thing because it's kind of hard to get. I do have a Daniels and McLaurin team already in this contest, so you know, not a big deal. I actually prefer Garrett Wilson to McLaurin, like I said, so it is what it is. I like this combo here. I actually just did this my draft before. I think I started with CeeDee Lamb, Trey McBride, and Marvin Harrison and built up a Kyler Murray stack with those guys. This guy at the turn here is going to have a rough time. 3 non-wide receiver picks early. You can definitely get away with 2. Once you hit 3, things can start to get rough. I'm interested to see if this Tony Nile guy just does he stop here at 3 running backs or add like one more super late and go with this hyper fragile build that could definitely work, or is he just kind of punting his team off and doesn't know that much about best ball? One or the other. Wow, I would love to get Rashee Rice here. I guess I'll have to decide if I want Hurts or Rice if this isn't Rice. There's like plenty of other things I can do at QB if I don't get hurt, so I'm just going to take Rice. Like, I'll have Mahomes as an option, Fields, McCarthy. So that's kind of the situation where I want to go away from doing. Obviously, if Hurts is there in round 5, I'll take him. But like, I want to be, when I'm passing up on the Brown Hurts, I want it to be for a different pick that I really, really like. And to me, like, getting the 7 pick fall on Rashee that's right where I'm like, nope, I'll do that. Interesting that Niall took Devonta Smith. So that's probably good for us either way, whether we get Hurts or not. So, like, one of 2 things will probably happen. This guy will take Hurts to go with Smith, and then his team is pretty much dead because they'll only have one wide receiver through 5 rounds. Or he doesn't take Hurts, and then we get Hurts. So we'll kind of either... Oh, no, Hurts goes here at the turn to the Barkley guy. Ready? So we will not be doing Hurts. That's something to keep in our mind on. Might want to open up Bo Nix here by going Sutton. That option is removed from us. All right, I'm just going to take Travion Henderson and maybe start to think about doing something with Drake May later. I like having Henderson mixed in with Drake May because he's going to be such a big pass catcher. So maybe we end up with Fields and May on this team. That would be kind of cool. I would like that combination. Obviously, we're still open to JJ McCarthy as well. I do like May quite a bit more than McCarthy. That's one of my problems with like the QBs is like I really like this pocket of guys where it's like right here starting with Mahomes, where it's Mahomes, Mayfield, Caleb, Murray, Nix, Fields, Goff, Purdy, Herbert, and May, and Love. And then I guess sort of Stroud. And then it feels like, boom, there's a tier break here. Like maybe you could, you know, convince me on Trevor Lawrence being up with this group too. But like Dak and McCarthy and Penix and Tua and Ward, these guys all seem significantly worse, but their cost is like not significantly different. So like this is one of the tier breaks where I'm like really, you know, keeping an eye on if I can get like 2 guys before this Dak Prescott thing hits. I like that quite a bit. But, you know, we'll see how things play out. So looking at the board, we would probably be looking at taking Fields here and May here if that's who we were taking. A lot of times, you know, you have plans like that and they get shit on. So interested So you always have to have like backup plans, like somewhere in your mind, and at least we have, McCarthy here as a backup plan. We also could just go ahead and take Patrick Mahomes, or did he already go? He already went. So we're looking at Olave. We're looking at Chuba. I think I'll just take Olave here. I don't really like Olave that much. Could take Ken Walker. Yeah, I'll take Ken Walker. I'm just kind of off Olave. I hate the Saints quarterback situation. I think I'd rather have like Ken Walker and a wide receiver next round. Like I was thinking if I could get exactly Olave and Caleb Johnson, I would rather have that. But like this is exactly why I didn't want to play that game, is because I did not think Caleb Johnson would make it back to us. So it's nice. So like we could go with Diggs here and kind of try to build up our Drake May thing. Diggs does not go before our pick. Not one of my favorites from this group of people, but makes sense for our team, and I don't want to have 0 of them. One of the things that's annoying about Diggs is like he could be slow to start the season with his injury, and we already have Rashee Rice, who has some chance of being suspended. So I am already not worried about Rashee Rice missing the start of the season due to injury. So like that's completely, I think you're pretty much in the clear for that. But obviously, suspension is still an ongoing issue. I think he would be more in the 2 to 4 game range. I don't think he's going to get this like crazy suspension that some people seem to think he might get. I think you're looking at 2 to 4 games, and that's if the case even is settled by then. From the sounds of it, there's like a decent chance his court case is not settled by the time the season starts. So you could not see the suspension until next year. So you're getting a chance that he plays all 17 games, and like to me, he should be probably going around Drake London and and AJ Brown. Like I would have Garrett Wilson after McConkey and Rashee Rice right there with Garrett Wilson and McConkey. Those 3 would basically be a tier for me after AJ Brown if we knew Rice was playing all the games. So we could like consider grabbing Fields a little early at our pick here if we want. Depends what our other options are. We already have 5 wide receivers, so we're under like no pressure there. Drake May ADP falls right in line with our pick 2 picks from now, right? Yeah, so like Fields falls in line with this pick, but we might pull him up, and then Drake May falls in line with this pick. I don't think there's any reason to pull him up. We can just go with JJ McCarthy at one of these picks if we miss May. Would be a bit of a bummer. Might want to build in a TJ Hawkinson. That might be somebody worth taking before we do Fields if he is available. So let's kind of look at that. I do like to pair tight ends with quarterbacks a lot because like in the playoff weeks, getting those double touchdowns that affect both your onesie positions is awesome. But looks like we will not get to TJ Hawkinson here. George Pickens is pretty juicy. I think with how quarterbacks are going in this room, I'm just not going to fuck around and take Justin Fields. But George Pickens would be the pick if I wanted to fuck around and try to push toward Justin Fields. Good. Pickens won anyway, so now I definitely don't have to feel bad about not messing around. Could look at Scadaboo on the way back. Like I said, I'm not going to pull up Drake May. even though we have the two pieces, because I have like a built-in escape hatch plan with Justin Jefferson. So we could do is take Jordan Mason as our running back 3. That would give us another piece to go with our Vikings bet if we end up taking McCarthy. I like Downs quite a bit. Scattaboo and Jordan Mason are kind of like similar in my eyes for what their roles are going to be this year. I do think Scattaboo has a bit more upside because I don't think Aaron Jones can be negated quite the way Scattaboo could be negated. All right, let's build on our Vikings bet. So it looks like we're going to be punting tight end, which is fine. Could end up with some options later with Mason Taylor and maybe Hunter Henry if we end up building those stacks. I think the likelihood we get Drake May in this particular room is pretty low because people are just like drunk on quarterbacks. So if not, I'm probably just going to take JJ McCarthy ahead of ADP because I don't want to fuck around too much. It sucks a little bit because like I don't have him as high a tier as a couple of the guys ahead of him, but it is what it is. We could try to do the Jordan Love thing and get Tucker Kraft if we miss on Drake May. I don't hate that. But like I would expect this person to take Drake May right here. They don't have a quarterback. It's by far the best quarterback on the board. I suppose after this we could look at a tight end maybe. So that worked out. Done at quarterback with Fields and May. Could look at Javonte. We do have Trey Henderson, who I think can be a bit of a slow starter. So Javonte could be kind of helpful. So I'm pretty sure he will start as the main back for the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people very high on Blue. I think he's a bit more of a role player, like a Felix Jones type, who, remember, they took over like Chris Johnson and a bunch of running backs back in the day that were really good because they wanted the specific role of this pass catching third down explosive back. So they overdrafted Felix Jones over, I forget exactly who, but it was like Chris Johnson and was one of the people. After I make this pick, I'll go delve into that. I think we'll just take Javonte here. That's cool with me. Let's go look up this Felix Jones draft. (2008). So Dallas took Felix Jones 22nd overall. 23rd overall was Richard Mendenhall, who went to Pittsburgh. 24th overall was Chris Johnson, who went to the Titans. So, yeah, that's why you don't draft this type of role super high. I'm not saying the Cowboys did this year. Obviously, they took Blue like way later, so not a big deal at all. But I'm just saying that they have been known to draft for this specific role before, and so yeah. The next three running backs that got drafted in that draft were Mendenhall to Pittsburgh, Chris Johnson to the Titans, and Matt Forte to the Bears. I would have a lot of interest in these tight ends, but I also have a lot of interest in these two running backs as well. I think I'm willing to just punt off tight end further. Goddard's still available on the trade market. Lost one of my running backs I was pretty interested in. Tyjae Spears, I'm a little bit less gung ho of compared to Trey Benson. So we do have Javonte as part of like a Dallas bet. Pretty sure this guy is CD Lamb, right? Yeah, he should be taking Ferguson. So we should just end up with Spears here. If he doesn't take Ferguson, I'm going to take Ferguson. Cool. So obviously definitely doing a 3 tight end build. Our boy Kyle Williams is still there. Probably should have taken him instead of Spears, I guess. I do like Spears quite a bit. I want to highlight Jack Bash, and they said no. Yeah, I kind of forgot about Kyle Williams. I should have had him starred. It's a little bit of a bummer, but I'd be happy to get Cedric Tillman here as well. Big fan of Cedric Tillman. He had that breakout last year. Looks like there's a decent chance Joe Flacco starts for the Browns because their other choices are rookies that they took late or Kenny Pickett. So after we get punished by this guy taking Kyle Williams, we will select Cedric Tillman and wait some more on tight end. Or we'll take Kyle Williams and not be punished. Whee! That was pretty lucky. I'm not going to lie. I deserved punishment for that. Did not receive it. Obviously, tight end is we are in deep doo-doo at, but we will see if we could pick up maybe some of these type of guys. Hunter Henry, Freiermuth, Mason Taylor. Definitely going to be a 3 tight end build for sure. Should probably star Cedric Tillman just because if he were to make it all the way back to my next pick, I would probably pick him over these tight ends and just keep pushing tight ends to the bottom. Definitely don't need Hunter Henry because we already have 3 pieces of Patriots pass catchers with Diggs, Kyle Williams, and Henderson. So I'd be completely I would actually take Freiermuth over Hunter Henry if I had the choice to just pick between the two. I do like Brenton Strange a bit more than these other guys. So that's something to consider as well. Like I would rank these guys Strange, Freiermuth, Henry, and then I don't know. I really want Cedric Tillman too, so we do have to consider there's a guy behind us who has no tight ends. And if he starts like going off on tight ends, that's kind of rough for us. So maybe I let Cedric Tillman go this time. I think I'm going to let Cedric Tillman go here if Strange is there. So I like Strange a bit more than Freiermuth and Henry. I would be really happy to get like Strange, Freiermuth, and Mason Taylor, or one of the other rookies as my third tight end. Yeah, I'm just going to take Strange here. We have pushed tight end enough. It's time to stop that. Tillman makes it back to us again. I guess we'll have to keep considering what to do. I wonder if people are like just super out on him because Deontay Johnson signed there, but like I don't think that they at all do anything similar. Deontay Johnson and like Judy kind of do similar things, that they're both Z/slot guys, and Cedric Tillman is an X. So like as far as I'm concerned, like I don't give a shit that for Cedric Tillman that Deontay signed there. Like it's annoying. There's another guy that might be able to earn targets, but it is what it is. I don't think it's going to affect the actual role Cedric Tillman plays. So we're taking Tillman or Freiermuth. Uh, this time I am going to go with Tillman if I can, because I don't really mind Juwan Johnson either, who's like cheaper. So that'll have us done there. Like Juwan Johnson's pretty cheap. I don't mind Ferguson, but so we have two more tight ends and one more running back done at wide receiver. Really like this wide receiver room a lot. I think the pressure to get 5 early wide receivers just isn't as deep as it has been other years. Like I drafted a team a little while ago today where I took Rashee Rice and Worthy as my wide receivers 3 and 4. Then I punted wide receiver for like a few rounds, like 3 or 4 rounds, and then I took Trey Harris and Jaden Higgins as my 5 and 6, and like it was like I didn't feel behind at all. Felt almost ahead at wide receiver despite only taking 4 early. Yeah, interesting to see. I guess people just are like really out on Cedric Tillman because of this Deontay Johnson signing, but that would mean I'm going to have boatloads and boatloads and boatloads of Cedric Tillman. Would be fantastic if Freiermuth made it back to me. I would try to get Freiermuth and Mason Taylor. I am totally willing to miss Mason Taylor, like put him at risk to get Freiermuth, because I think Freiermuth is a better pick. Now that that didn't happen, I will not feel the same way in this situation. I will just would rather take Mason Taylor. There's Mike Gesicki here as well, which is pretty interesting. He's usually gone like before it gets down this way, so he showed some upside last year. I don't have like any Gesicki. All right, I'll just take Mason Taylor. I don't feel enough care about Mike with Gesicki like I did with Freiermuth to not take the stacking piece. I'll just take the stacking piece. Marshawn Lloyd, I like quite a bit. Uh, Reasonably confident he'll be the Packers running back 2. He was taken in, I believe, the 3rd round last year. Just battled injuries. To be fair, didn't love his profile as a prospect, but so we're kind of between Lloyd and Juwan here. I'd probably be willing to just like lose Juwan for Lloyd, I guess. I wonder if anyone took Bryant. Yeah, Pat Bryant did get drafted. Oh, he just got drafted as a pick before me. That's funny. I wasn't going to take another wide receiver anyway, but I was wondering. So we'll leave ourselves open to losing Juwan, and that's fine. I don't think he's particularly better than some of these other guys. I would like to get one of these 3 if I can. I do think these tight ends that got 2nd round draft capital are pretty good bets. I mean, Terrace Ferguson was the first person that the Rams drafted in this draft. And then Elijah Arroyo went in round 2. Mason Taylor went in round 2. Obviously, these guys are not sure things, but I like those bets. I just saw there's a team with 2 running backs, so that's kind of fun. This guy just drafted McCaffrey and Derrick Henry and was like, fuck y'all, I'm done now. Took Chubb and Roshan. Kind of interesting. He also only had 1 wide receiver through 5 rounds, so. He did attack wide receiver with quantity, but I don't know. I don't think that's a very good team, in my opinion. Only 2 wide receivers for this team through like a bazillion D rounds. So that team is fairly dead. This Ashton Jeanty team looks pretty decent. So I'll probably take Juwan or Terrace Ferguson here. Just going to go ahead and take Juwan. So we ended up with Fields and May, Henderson, Ken Walker, Jordan Mason, Javonte, Spears, and Lloyd. Jefferson, Brown, Garrett Wilson, Rishi Rice, Diggs and Kyle Williams, Tillman, Strange, Taylor, and Juwan Johnson. Really, really happy with this team. Thanks for watching and good luck in your drafts, folks.